Let's talk first to Ray, calling in from tiny xylophones. Wants to know how we feel about the simulation hypothesis that many physicists espouse if it implies a creator. I feel like it's an interesting way to talk about creators. Ray, you're on the line with Forrest and Paul. How
Mm.
you doing today?
Good, good. Yeah, I'm super excited. I've been watching y'all for years. Can I give you a little bit about my background?
If it's
If
relevant.
it's relevant.
I think it is. I know you guys are in a rush. I'll be very, very quick. So I'm a Sikh, with turbans and stuff. I became an
Yeah, yeah.
atheist, and I read a lot of physics. It's kind of like a hobby of mine. And in my religion and in the Hindu religion, there's this thing. It's called Maya. It means that basically we're living in this fake world, and this is not reality. And really, the afterlife is the real world, almost like the Matrix, and the only
Yeah.
way to attain that and to sort of become one with God is through what's called nirvana, which means you understand that you're living in this matrix-like world, and only then, when you understand that, then you'll escape the cycle of birth and death and join God. Okay, so I
Yeah.
was like, whatever, that who cares? Then, in all my physics readings, I've been reading about this thing called the simulation hypothesis, which, when you study quantum theory and non-locality and all the stuff that doesn't make sense, it kind of does make sense if you think that we are in a simulation where we're sort of living in a advanced computer program, and we don't have free will, and we're kind of someone's entertainment. Um, so I would give that less than a 0.1% chance of probability. However, if it is true, what do you guys think about that in terms of a creator?
I mean, yeah, if big ol' if there is a
Sure,
simulation that we're all living in, then and somebody's running that simulation, then yeah, by definition, that whatever that thing is, that person, I'll just say the word person for now, would
sure,
be the creator of this universe. The issue with that is that I
right.
can't stress enough just how big that if is. And so it's as
Or
useful
who
as
or sorry,
Oh no, I was going to say it's
sorry to cut you
as
off.
useful as saying no. You're fine. There's a delay. It's okay. It's as useful as saying, what if we're a brain in the vat and the creator is the person feeding chemicals to the brain, or
Exactly,
what if this is
absolutely.
literally the
Yeah,
Matrix, or what if this other thing and this
yeah,
other, or what if we're all actually none of
right.
this exists and I'm insane and I'm in an asylum somewhere dreaming all of this, or the whole I
All
think it's
right,
like last Tuesdayism. What if the universe came into existence just last Tuesday and all my memories were pre-planted? And like the thing is, these are
absolutely, yeah,
unfalsifiable, and more importantly, like none of that makes sense in terms of the laws of physics that we understand. If we were to say,
sure,
okay, well, there's this other guy, well, then this other guy isn't supernatural. This other guy obeys the same laws of physics as we do. So
sure,
there's still no reason for a God
right,
belief unless it
right,
doesn't. And the physics that we live under are just part of the simulation, in which case there's other physics out there which we can't
exactly,
comprehend.
right.
There's just no, it's not worth thinking about, is basically my
Right,
argument. It's just,
right,
there's
right.
no reason
Well,
to go there.
so I was so a lot of people, if you go back to the origins of quantum mechanics and you look at what Bohr and what these guys said, they're like, well, you can't understand quantum mechanics. Just it's not even worth asking. It's a question we can't really wrap our heads around. So forget about it. But I disagree. I think that it is still, now maybe I'm just romanticizing this idea, and hoping it brings human beings. I think it would be awesome if there was a creator. Like, it would be cool, right? Like, so maybe I'm just romanticizing it, but I still that's why I switched from an atheist to an agnostic, for this exact reason. So I don't know. I just thought it
But
kind of
Ray,
it kind of
those aren't analogous, right? Like the fact that we currently can't understand quantum physics
yep, right,
doesn't mean that it's not falsifiable, right? Because no one's deemed any quantum mechanics to be non-falsifiable versus simulation theory is entirely non-falsifiable. So I
um
guess
I guess you're right.
I
I guess you're right.
I wouldn't put those in the same category. I feel like quantum mechanics isn't something we're going to necessarily understand in my lifetime, but perhaps,
Hmm,
generations
sure,
down the road, it will be they will study it in school like we learned E equals MC squared, right? Like someone
I mean, that's
someone will
very
crack
fair.
it and they'll have it figured out. So
Well,
I think it
for the
is
same
worth still
reason,
studying. Well, that's why it's worth
sure.
studying worth studying quantum mechanics, maybe not worth, life pursuing simulation theory.
Life pursuit, but that people would say the same thing about the many worlds hypothesis and the multiverse, and some hardcore physicists, I mean real physicists that, I mean, this is their job. They are trying to figure out cracks and trying to how to figure out the multiverse and stuff. I'm just thinking, I mean, I agree with you guys. We're splitting hairs here. I think that what I'm saying is kind of a romantic thing. While I have you on the phone, I know I'm being greedy. Can I ask you guys one more thing? It'll be very
briefly,
short.
yes. Yes,
Briefly,
yes.
okay. I come from a devoutly religious family, and I cannot bring myself to tell my kids that I don't believe in God. I mean, I've let it out, but it's intellectually dishonest of me to not tell them that. But I haven't told them that. My kids are in their young teen years, and I feel really dirty for not telling them that. And I kind of make them, go through some of the. I mean, by no means are we devout religious or anything like that, but what do you guys think about social religion? Like, I'm a social seeker, being a social Christian, something like that, where the social aspect of the culture and the religion are so intertwined that you don't want to totally let go of your culture.
Some
So
of the
I
social
deconverted.
aspects of. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, you first.
Pardon me?
I deconverted
No,
when my children, when my children were in their, young teens, is when I deconverted, and
Okay.
the worst possible scenario happened, and that was that someone else told them that I was no longer religious. Okay, now I had told a few people who I thought I could trust, but it turns out I could not.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that whatever your strategy is, someone else telling them is the worst way for the relationship.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I do think you probably, if you want to avoid that, I mean, one way is to be very open and like literally sit them down and say, Dad, no longer, I have different ideas. And you can peddle that if you want, but it in a way, sometimes this stuff should come from you. You are expressing though that it may be it's not central to their lives the way that we went to church 4 times a week, right? Like it was pretty freaking important, and my job was at the church, so it's a bigger deal for me. But
for sure.
But that said, you can soften. You can do it softly, right? You can start saying, you can start peddling around the edges of whatever doctrines you have, where it started. Maybe I'm not so sure about this. I'm sorry that I'm so Christian centric, and I don't have great examples.
No, that's totally.
But in the Christian centric thing is like, well, maybe I don't believe in hell the way I use. You can start softly. You can say, oh, are angels maybe what we thought they were, and you can start seeding some of the stuff so that it's not a surprise when they found out that Paul. That would have been my preferable way. Was like, oh yeah, well, Paul doesn't really believe in angels anymore, or salvation, or sin, some of these stuff. So I guess it makes sense that it's now there. I could have got there a little softer, but I just from my own personal life experience, I really need to warn against someone else framing it for your loved ones. That's so come up with a plan that doesn't let that happen.
Last question about this topic. So what happens if our church, is called a gurdwara or a temple, is really the only lifeline to our old culture that we had, and it's in the temple. So should I still go? I mean, we still go once in 2 months or 3 months and just kind of go through the motions, and more for just feeling good and kind of nostalgic, chemicals rushing through my body from childhood. Not that I believe any of it, because it's all bullshit.
Is there a secular flavor of your religion that you're like? So I know a lot of people who call themselves secular Jews, right? Like they go to temple.
No, man.
They obey the Shabbat.
Mine is like
Okay.
No, there's. I mean, I've heard like Dawkins talk about he's a social Christian. I think that's what I am, but it's much more intertwined, and we speak the language and listening to the stuff. So we just go, but I don't know if that makes me kind of a liar.
But is it different than going to, like let's say I go to.
You go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say that, like,
Lord of the Rings book club. Like it's the same thing. Go ahead, Forrest. I'm
No,
gonna
you're
shut up.
fine.
you
You're
say that
fine.
again?
You're gonna talk.
No, there's the delay sucks ass, man. It's fine. The whole thing I was gonna say is just like, the social side of Sikhism
Mhm.
is one of the reasons I
Yeah.
was actually really drawn to it. And when I was in my late teens, I loved the whole idea just from
Yeah.
what I was seeing from it.
Yeah.
I thought it was so
Yeah.
fucking cool, and I especially loved the
Yeah.
major charity aspect of it. And so like, yeah,
Yeah.
there may not be a secular version of it that I can think of either, but I'm also not a Sikh, or nor have ever been, so I don't know. But like,
Yeah.
there may
Yeah.
not be a cultural aspect to it, but like, or a secular, but you could still do Sikhish things like take your kids to a
Right.
soup kitchen
Right.
and have volunteer work there, or like,
Yeah.
do really cool things that go in line with Sikhism without necessarily teaching them about God or making them,
Yeah.
grow their hair long, or any of the other things that go along with it. And
Yeah.
so like,
Yeah. Yeah.
for me, I think
Okay.
that, if you were talking about like your grandparents or something like that, or like some friends at the
Mhm.
office, something like that,
Oh,
no, but you don't owe them an
whatever. Yeah.
explanation. You don't have to talk to
Yeah.
them about it.
No.
None of that.
Yeah.
But your
Yeah.
kids,
Yeah.
deserve the best version of you.
Yeah.
And if the
Yeah.
best version of
Yeah.
you, I think, is an honest one. And so, yeah, I think you should do what Paul
Yeah.
said and just find a way to work them into it and just say, listen, this is
Yeah.
not 100% for me. This is a dated tradition. However, there is some
Yeah.
value in this and this and this. And we're going to do these things. And
Right.
maybe in your life, you can find ways to get this same value with even less of the religious aspect of it. I think that's totally fine. Just, there's no reason to make them think you believe something, because then they are going to look up to you. They are going to emulate you, and they are going to fall
Yeah.
into the trap of believing in a religion that you don't believe in, and doing
Oh,
things
yeah.
you
No,
don't think
actually,
are
I think.
right
Mhm.
because they want to be like you.
Yeah, and I think I've let the cat out of the bag. Like, I'm being very polite right now. Like, I'm usually very aggressive when I talk to theists, and I say, well, I don't believe in Santa Claus either. Like, and I've talked like that a lot in front of the family. So I think they already know. And I think my
Yeah.
oldest son is already kind of, because I can't hold back. I mean, it's organized religion is so ludicrous to me. Anyways. So he already kind of knows, but anyways, you guys are great.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for taking my call.
Take care. See you later, Ray.
Take care, Ray.
Said he was an agnostic. Said that religion is bullshit. Called in as a theist. Maybe it's
I
just
know, right? I was a little confused
Yeah.
about labels, but everyone uses labels differently. So
Yeah, I didn't want to call him out on because he was a nice guy. I'm not going to like be a jerk about it, but like, it's very interesting.